What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to yet another episode of the Schoch Factor Podcast. And if you're Mike Rooney and you're listening to this and you're like, hey, what the heck? Why don't Steve and Jake sound as tired as they do when they wake up and record early in the morning? They sound a different kind of tired. That's because, Mike Rooney, we're doing this at night for you.
Nighttime, night mode. Boop, 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 boop. Jake Mintz here. No Jordan Schusterman on this episode of the Schoch Factor. Me and Steve are in Omaha in our hotel rooms. I just got back from the stadium from one of the most bananas baseball games I've seen in a long time. Feels like I say that every year. Tennessee 12, Florida State 11. My credential is still on. I'm still sticky. I haven't even taken my shoes off. I have so many tissues in my pockets because I can't stop sneezing. But we are here. We are playing through the pain to deliver you entertaining, thrilling, captivating college baseball content, because today on day one of the Men's College World Series 2024, we had 2 walk-offs, 1 cycle, thousands of Jell-O shots, and 1 big donkey.
Yes, those are all accurate numbers. The statistics, the sabermetrics of those checks out.
Yeah.
If you can't tell from that sentence, Stephen Schoch doesn't understand sabermetrics. I don't know what that means.
Not at all.
If I'm being honest.
No.
I'm not an advanced analytics guy, but what I do know is 2 walk-offs in one day is just a spoiling of college baseball fans. What did we do to deserve this? Personally, I didn't love the first one.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
There could have been cooler ones, but before we get into it, we got to say, I personally need to say, today was a transformative day of my life.
Tell me why, Steve.
Because I found out, one, not only do the mishits have juice, but I found out that Jake Mintz's mishits have more juice than Stephen Schoch's mishits with the 2025 Soldier Tank BB Core baseball bat. Of course, being out here in Omaha, Soldier Sports is an Omaha-based company. So we got to learn a little bit about the company and meet the great people behind Soldier Sports. And that was something that was very exciting for me. I gotta tip my cap to them. First of all, marketing-wise, geniuses. One, sponsoring the Schoch Factor podcast, that feels like a great business decision. But 2, in their booth here in Omaha, they have a little radar gun set up where fans can go, they can hit a baseball off a tee with the Soldier Tank, the lightest and hottest.
So hot, so light.
I was looking at it and I was like giddy. I was uncomfortable around it because of how hot it was. And you can get on top of the velocity leaderboard if you hit it around 89 miles an hour. That's how I did it. I did it very early in the day, though. But I got to say, thank you, of course, to our sponsor, Soldier Sports. Jake, have you heard of the 2025 Soldier Tank BB Core baseball bat?
I have. Steve, you don't have to do the ad read.
We don't?
You just did it.
Okay.
You just basically did it.
Yeah, that feels like it.
I'd like to get into the games if you don't mind.
Yeah, we can do that. I do want to say I felt and experienced the infused power alloy technology for the first time. Let me tell you, I pat the iPad in terms of I would like the iPad. It's good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. But I hadn't swung a metal baseball bat in like 2 presidencies, and I have to say that the Soldier Tank felt very good in my feeble, unathletic hands. I was able to hit a ball off the end, 76 miles an hour, and I suck. Like, I stink. I'm total butt. And so that's all you really need to know about the Soldier Sports Tank. Steve, let's begin where this night ended, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's start there.
Tennessee against FSU. I'm just going to give the real brief, quick recap of it, all right?
Sure.
The preview here was Jamie Arnold, best pitcher left in the tournament, against Tennessee, the best offense in the country. They broke the school record for home runs. They finished first in the country in home runs. This is as high-powered as an offense as we have in college baseball. Tennessee jumps out to a lead in the early going, and then they have one of the ugliest innings I've seen in some time. I believe in the 3rd inning, they allowed 6 runs. They go down big, and it's just like wheels are falling off. Both teams are scoring. It's back. It's like, oh, it's like a 5-run lead. Now it's a 4-run lead. Now it's a 4-run lead. Now it's a 5-run lead. Now it's a 2-run. But it's just like, it's moving up and down. As we're doing that, Christian Moore is just tallying up experiences. He's doing side quests, okay? He has a cycle, I think, by the 5th inning, the 6th inning, including the most amazing home run. It's the second best home run I've ever seen in person, Steve. the Christian
Okay.
Moore homer. Where were you for it? Where did you see it?
Where was I for it? So I was in the right field concourse, just watching, observing, quietly, taking it all in because, of course, I wanted to experience the Jello shots. I wanted to see what it was like. I figured if Tennessee is playing right now, that's a good time. Pop on over to Rocco's, see what the Jello shot board is like because let's be honest, when Tennessee is not playing, I feel like Rocco's is a place they're going to be. They're currently in the lead with the Jello shot board. But anyway, I popped back over for maybe 15 minutes and watched this dude just deliver one of the most electric home runs I've seen in Omaha. Now, I've seen some very electric ones, so I won't say it was my number two because, again, I've been pretty up close and personal with a few very cool home runs in Omaha. So, we know what happened there.
So I will say this. When I think about, so let's just Christian Moore home run, like 440 on a line, 117.4 off the bat to dead center field at the enormous stadium that is Charles Schwab Field. When I think about home runs, Steve, I've seen a lot of baseball. I'm only 28, but I've seen a lot of baseball. Okay. And when I think about home runs I've seen in person that are like seared into my mind, there are 4.
Okay.
Christian Moore, that what I saw today. Wyatt Langford last year against UVA. I'm sorry to say that. I was standing right next to you. We were on the concourse.
You're talking about a home run that doesn't exist.
I know it doesn't exist because the ball hasn't freaking landed yet. But it was like, right. You remember we were like right down the third base line on the concourse, and it's just the way the ball I was like, whoa. Those two, so Moore, Wyatt Langford, Kyle Schwarber in the 2022 NLCS in San Diego, 488 feet upper tank to right field.
That'll play.
And then the Bryce Harper homer against the Padres, the Bedlam at the Bank in Philly. Those are the ones that are like really seared into my mind. I mean, like the Jorge Soler home run in the World Series in 2021 is up there. But like tonight, when you see greatness with your own eyes, you just feel so lucky. And I saw that tonight from Christian Moore. So he hits for the cycle by the 6th inning. Okay, unbelievable. Tennessee cuts the lead to 2 by the 9th. It's 11-9. Kavaris Tears leads off the inning with a triple. Okay. Or sorry, it's 3 going into the 9th, I believe. He leads off the inning with a triple. Maybe, is that right? Let me see. Let me pull up the old box score.
2 going into the 9th. I remember that when the big hit was delivered, when the stadium was rocking, it was for 2 runs.
No, because it was the tying run. I got it. Sorry. They scored 4 in the 9th. So that's 3. It was 3 going into the 9th. Kavaris Tears hits a triple, leadoff triple. Kavaris Tear drops on my guitar, leadoff triple, sac fly, 1 out. Right. And we're at the number 7 spot in the lineup with 1 out. Or sorry, 8 spot in the lineup with 1 out. And it's like, if 8 and 9 get out, Christian Moore will not hit again. Right. So one of 8 or 9 needs to get on base. 8-hole, pinch hit, Cannon Peebles gets up and he walks. Okay. 9-hole, Cal Stark pops up. They're down 2 runs with 2 outs. Christian Moore is at the plate as a tying run. And it's like, this is it. This is everything I want college baseball to be. This is so awesome. And everyone in the building knew that dude was in a flow state. He was seeing 85 dimensions. He was on the Z-axis today. All right? That's where he was. And he ropes it down the left field line, double, runners on second and third, 2 outs. Blake Burke comes up. Was it a swing? Was it not a swing? I don't care because it was fun. Single up the middle, tie game. And then a couple batters later, Dylan Dreiling laces one into the backside gap to score Blake Burke and end the game on a dramatic 12-11 win. Tennessee puts up 4 in the bottom of the 9th, and they take the opener from Florida State. It was chaos. It was mayhem. It was disorganized. It was sloppy in the beginning. Let's get 2 buns and put Sloppy Joe in between those. Boy, was it messy. Grab a napkin. But just one of my favorite games that I've seen in person.
Yeah, and phenomenal recap, first of all. I feel like I just watched it again, but only in 3 minutes, which is insane. I want to give a shout out to Cannon Peebles because, his transferring process to Tennessee has not been what, he was looking for, I'm sure. He was a guy who at NC State his freshman year, he was the dude. Like, I remember, I think he hit a grand slam from each side of the plate in one game, or it was a grand slam and another home run. in the same inning or something crazy like that.
So
And
Cannon Peebles last year, Steve, at NC State had a 1153 OPS
yeah,
in a full
that'll
season.
play.
He had 12 homers,
play.
he hit 352, and this year he really hasn't played a whole lot.
Yeah, and being at Tennessee, being at the number one team, you got guys like Dalton Bargo coming in, and they aren't even seeing time. Like that is the insanity of the transfer portal and the insanity of how much talent there is in the current state of college baseball, where it's like, look, there are guys who are on the bench this year that next year are going to get drafted and paid very handsomely. And like those are the backups right now. And that's a very cool thing. And I think that leads to us having a lot of these cool games where it really comes down to the line, and it really comes down to how well is your team able to pitch it? How well can you defend it?
Right. And what we saw tonight, like Florida State just barely didn't have enough arms, right? So Jamie Arnold was a little bit shaky. And so they had to go to Whitaker, who's their top reliever, a little bit earlier than they probably wanted to. And so that just stretched the whole game out. And let's just be clear. Connor Whitaker was amazing in this game. Like, what a performance from him out of the bullpen to give them so much length to cover all those innings. But it was just like, as the game went on, it was like, oh no, like they're going to have to get the last couple of outs, and they just couldn't get them. Dude, I'm like still like shaking from that game.
Like for me, the craziest part of it was like at UVA when I was playing, we had Andrew Abbott who threw on Friday nights. Andrew Abbott is a big leaguer. He became a big leaguer like a week and a half after we got done playing baseball together. It's insane. I knew that I was not throwing on days he was throwing because it was like, look, he's got this. He's got a handle. And I'm sure that's been the ideal with Jamie Arnold, where it's like, look, I can mess around for 6-7 innings and hang out with my friends because we know Jamie Arnold's just going to go out there and ball. And to be honest, it doesn't happen every time. Pitching is hard. Baseball is a very difficult game. And Tennessee has an insane offense. So for Whitaker to come in and give that length in a game where I am assuming he probably did not expect he was going to have to go that long.
Like he knew he was going to pitch. Like he's a top guy in that pen for a reason, but like he didn't think he was going to have to throw 3 1/3 tonight, Yeah.
And like as early as it was too, I feel like that's a huge part of it because
there was just so much in this game, dude. I'm just forgetting moments. Jaime Ferrer. Is it Jamie or Jaime?
Jaime, I believe.
Jaime Ferrer with, I believe the first homer of the tournament.
Dude, I also got to say, another thing that was impressive about Christian Moore's home run was the ball was not carrying at all today. Like there were a lot of hits in the first game between UVA and UNC that I've seen at both. I've seen them in Chapel Hill. I've seen them in Charlottesville, the exact same hits, and they're leaving the yard. Like they're going over bleachers. Like the wind was coming in pretty strong today, I will say.
The University of Virginia scored 2 runs today. The University of North Carolina scored 3 runs today. Christian Moore scored 4 runs today.
More runs. It just means more runs, apparently. And look, I love when things live up to what they say they're going to be. When I grab a tube of yogurt and it's like, hey, this is a fun portable tube of yogurt and I can walk around and eat that yogurt on the move, I'm happy because it's like, hey, as advertised. As advertised, more RBIs, more hits, more distance on the home run. It's like yesterday at Media Day, one thing that really stood out to me, of course, we met a ton of amazing people. If you're a player and you're listening to this, first of all, thank you for supporting the Schoch Factor. You rock. But second of all,
go to bed.
Yeah, go to bed. It's way past your bedtime. And third of all, y'all rock. Thank you for talking to us. But one thing that really stood out, everybody is way bigger than I remember them being. Like college baseball.
What are you, 6? You're like 6'4".
I know. And you know who else is? Everyone who's playing college baseball right now. It is literally insane. Like Cam Smith walked up and said hello. One of the nicest, like when I see Cam Smith, he's the third baseman from Florida State, I get happier as a human being. Like he's very charismatic. It's hard not to be happy around him. he shook my hand, and his fingertips went to this mole, I will say, right around there. That is a large human being. He was probably like 3 inches taller than me. I felt dwarfed, and that's not common. That's not common, and that's the par in college baseball. I feel like these days. Like walking around, I saw Blake Burke. Talk about a guy I would not fight. All of these guys, like it's insane how much bigger and how much more physical teams are than they used to be.
Yeah, I totally agree. Christian Moore tonight, it was just as impressed I've really been with a player. Steve, I'm going to compare it to this moment, and then you'll do the baseball barbecue ad read, and then we'll move on to the next game.
Sure.
There was a moment a couple years ago. I was at a wedding with my now fiance. I think we weren't engaged at the time. And we had the right combination of substances up to that point in the evening, right?
Good.
And I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston comes on.
That is a substance in itself.
Yeah, exactly. And for the next 3.5 minutes of my life, I was just in this elevated plane where I was just like, we were the best dancers in the world for those 3.5 minutes. I refuse to believe otherwise.
I love what you're saying, and I think I have experienced what you're saying. This is a phenomenon I've tried to gather, because when people ask me, as a baseball player, what set me aside, what helped me was I could visualize really well what I needed to do and take my body there. It was never impressive, but I would call it, and this is the way I describe it, if you're ever playing a video game and you're messing with the controls and you hit the wrong button and you go into third person mode, I feel like you're kind of describing that phenomenon of what I call third person mode, where it's hey, look at Steve down there. I see the back of his head, which is something I've never actually done. I've never seen the back of my head, but mentally I have. And
but in my mind, that was Christian Moore tonight. Christian Moore tonight was just when we asked him about it in the the post-game press conference, he's just such a pro. He's I was just out there balling. It's okay, dude, congrats. But that's it, right? He wasn't thinking. He was going off of years of effort and work and muscle memory and practice, and it all just culminates in this. And Steve, last thing, this is true with Vance Honeycutt, who hit the walk-off for UNC. College baseball, in the last 3 weeks of a season, right before players are about to get drafted, there's this window where it feels like they've outgrown this level a little, right? Especially for hitters. It just looks too easy for them. And it's okay, it's time to up the difficulty. You have beat this level of the game. We need to move you up, please, now, right? But for these 3 weeks, we get to see what it looks like when a real pro like Christian Moore is still playing against college kids. And that's what we saw tonight. Steve, you know what is one thing college kids love to do? I believe they love grilling out.
Yes, they do love grilling. They love breaking bats and breaking grill forks. And did you know that baseball barbecue came together when a broken grill fork and a baseball bat came together to form a perfect grilling tool? Now, Baseball Barbecue makes patented grilling tools and cutting boards for your favorite teams in college baseball. The perfect gift for the college baseball fan in your life, and also the perfect way to out-tailgate your rivals. Head on over to baseballbarbecue.com/D1Baseball to find the perfect gift for the college baseball fan in your life. Thank you, Baseball Barbecue.
Thank you, Steve.
That was off the top
college. That's good. The perfect college baseball fan in my life is Stephen Schoch. And today, Stephen Schoch, for the first game, was a college baseball fan, as his university, the University of Virginia, played a baseball game. They played a baseball game that they did not win. This game was pretty simple, actually. Two good pitchers took them out against one another. Jason Tuccaro for the University of North Carolina against Evan Blanco for the University of Virginia. And they were both really good. Tuccaro is 12 years old and is a really tall man and was really good. And Evan Blanco is less tall, but was still really good. And it was 2-2 for a while. And then in the bottom of the ninth inning, there was a leadoff double by UNC. Super interesting backstory here, Steve. Do you know about all of this with the guy who hit the double for UNC?
In regards to what part?
for Van de Break. I mean, he was one of their best players last year. What is his kid's first name? Jackson Van de Break. He like started the year as their third baseman, and he was like one of their better players last year. He's their captain. He like wears the C, but he is kind of fallen out of the lineup a little bit. He's got the C on his chest. And he comes up in a big spot in the ninth inning to lead off, hits a double, moves to third with one out on a sac bunt. UVA's reliever, that was Chase Hungate. Is it Hungate or Hungate?
Hungate. Yeah.
Hungate.
VCU
He gets the 9-hole guy, Colby Wilkerson, to pop up. 2 outs. Here's Vance Honeycutt with 2 outs. Vance Honeycutt, super locked in. Stephen Schoch, I don't want you to second guess your friend Brian.
I won't. I refuse to. But
here's what I would have done.
I understand.
Yeah. As someone who's not a college baseball coach, okay? You cannot walk Vance Honeycutt to get to Casey Cook.
No.
Because Casey Cook had 3 hits on the day. He is arguably a better hitter than Vance Honeycutt right now. And you're losing the platoon advantage because Cook is a lefty. Here's what I would have done. I would have walked Honeycutt and Cook. I would have loaded the bases to face Parks Harbor right on right and just thrown him a ton of sliders. Yeah. And I understand pitching with the bases loaded is not ideal. But I think when you saw Vance Honeycutt take the first pitch against Chase Hungate, you knew it was deuces. You knew it was over.
Yeah. And for me, I think adding pressure for someone else can be more beneficial in times. So like as a closing pitcher, maybe I walk the bases loaded before I collect an out. You know, I add that extrinsic pressure to myself to add on to the intrinsic pressure of me personally wanting to be great. I add on that force of embarrassment of, hey, it's going to be a lot easier for them to score. You put the scales in their favor. Now it's going to be way cooler when you get out of it. And for me, I will say the one criticism I would have the one thing I would have liked to have seen happen differently is an inside move with the runner on second base when the bunt's happening. Just because, again, a bunt's happening. There's nothing to lose. And I am of a strong, strong belief that if you separate your hands on an inside move, no one knows what's going on. And hitters will always, on second base, guys will always enter their secondary as soon as you lock on the plate and lift that leg. As long as you don't just leave your arms like this, because why? No pitcher ever goes like this. I don't understand why on inside moves we go like this. Just do it normal. Just do it normal. Flow. Be in the flow state. Try the inside move. Just see what's going on. I will get off my soapbox, but I do think with pitchers, how much time you spend at the field. Let's just work on inside moves. Pickoffs are great. I love pickoffs. Control the running game. I love a home run. Don't get me wrong. Nothing gets me more excited than seeing a pitcher control the running game like a madman. You're muted. Jake.
Oh, I'm muted as a Kendall Rogers move.
That's okay. No. But what's important is you muted yourself with purpose. Your allergies have been going. You are blowing your nose, and you are taking care of yourself. Well,
I'm playing so hurt right now,
and it's impressive. It really
hurt or injured. Who knows? Who cares? Doesn't matter because I'm built different. Anyway, Vance Honeycutt hits a walk-off. It was a single, but it was really a double. Down the left field line, run scores, UNC wins, total mayhem. Shouts out to Carl Ravitch for the all-time bizarre call on the broadcast from Chapel Thrill to Charles Schwakoff. Can't tell if I like it or not, but I respect that he went for it.
I feel like Chapel Hill to Charles Schwab in itself is a far enough leap that we could say
the issue is
Chapel Thrill to Charles Schwab, the Tar Heels are walking it off. I think we made that jump.
Charles Schwakoff. Here's my thought. Here's what I'm amped that this exists because I'm going to say Schwakoff all the time. And any walk-off hit in that stadium is now a Schwakoff. That rules. That. Actually, you know what? I didn't like it at first, but the more I think about it, hell yeah, Ravitch.
Hell yeah, bro. Dude. You check out that Schwakoff at the World Series.
Dude, I'm Schwakoff at the World Series.
It's like
Charles Schwakoff.
Schlum, check it out. This Schwakoff, Check out this Schwach off.
Yeah, it's growing on me, the Schwach off.
Yeah, but I think it grew on you because you wanted it to. Like, I think it's an intrinsic. I keep saying intrinsic, extrinsic. I got to get out of that hole. I got to get out of that. I'm saying it like I say the word absolutely when I interview people. I got to stop.
Absolutely, for sure, dude. Anyway, great game.
Yeah.
UVA loses. UNC wins. Schwach off. Two Schwach offs tonight. Schwach off flame. I'm done.
Do we want to talk about the gentleman in the bathroom who did not schwalk all the way to the bathroom, to the toilet? He schwalked.
Yeah, then we'll go.
Yeah, so last thing, I don't know what's going on, but there was another unfortunate bathroom mishap at the game today. I was there. I don't have a solid alibi, but the good news is there wasn't anything solid about this. It was rough. It was in front of a urinal. I don't understand how this happens because that is it was cat-a-corner to a stall. And the fan did not make it to the toilet. We had another number 2 on the floor. We had more poop scoop, poops on the ground. We aren't happy about it. Guys, Pepto-Bismol, there's a CVS at the Hilton Omaha here. And in that CVS vending machine, there's so much ammonium. There's so many options. Or magnesium. I don't think the opposite of what makes you go to the bathroom, the clogger. They have that down there. And look, just for the sake of everyone, because it was a situation where you can't really close the bathroom to clean it off because people need to go. And it was just in there. It was rough. And I feel for the people of Charles Schwab Stadium. I feel for the staff who have to go through this. But for it to happen, not 2 weeks in a row, but 2 weekends in a row, or just to happen 2 weeks in one season, that's uncanny. Yeah. Something's up.
Is it Poo NC or is it Poo VA who is the culprit?
I think we need to go. I need
to open an investigation.
We need to take a swab at the Schwab of the Schwalk off food, and just get some DNA and ban someone for life.
Someone needs to be banned for life. You're so right.
One poop in not a bathroom is an accident. 2 poops.
You should never be in a position where you're awake, alive, enthusiastic, and drunk enough that you're defecating on the floor of a baseball stadium. That's unacceptable behavior. You can't do that. If you're a listener of the Schoch Factor podcast and that's you doing this in Omaha, I want you to never listen to us again. Okay, you're banned from this pod.
Please stop. The Schoch Factor is where you need to be.
That's for dang sure. All right, Steve, let's wrap it up. So, okay, quickly, UVA will play FSU in the losers bracket game on Sunday, even though they're not losers, they're winners, and everyone's a winner.
I still like them.
Still like them. Tennessee will play UNC. That's going to be fun. Wow. In the winners bracket game on Sunday night. Tomorrow we have 2 more games. We have Kentucky against NC State. That's the afternoon game, I believe. And then the nightcap will be Texas A&M against Florida in an SEC showdown. Steve, give me some picks for tomorrow. Who you got?
Give me
A&M because you like them more. They're your friends.
Yes.
A&M day game. You're going to take. Can I guess you're going to take NC State in the day game? I think
it's a tough one. This is a tugging at the heartstrings. It's I love that I like teams, and I love that I get to meet these teams and like them and enjoy knowing them. But it makes it way harder for picks because then I don't want Kentucky to be like, hey, Steve doesn't believe in me, because I do believe in them, and I know that they could win a baseball game tomorrow. But also, Alec Makaravich is a guy I quite enjoy him having success. And Jacob Cozart, I met him the other day. I've met the whole Cozart family except for one of them. And I think tomorrow is the day where I finally check off the final Cozart, which is Sam Cozart. He's currently committed to Texas A&M. He's a pitcher. He sits in the mid-90s as a high schooler because why wouldn't he? But I want success for them, but also Kentucky's just been such a fun team, and their story has been so cool this season. How honestly, with Kentucky, I feel like they go into it without caring about winning. They just think, I want to hang out with my friends. Like, oh, I'm hanging out with my friends. Oh, if we score another run here, I can hang out with my friends tomorrow. I can do it again tomorrow and do it the next day. And I think that really makes a team dangerous, like when they're having that much fun. And I feel like this Omaha especially is a team or a year where we have a lot of teams that have a ton of fun. Jake, you there?
Yeah, I just never know when you're done. Steve, thank you so much for doing a podcast with me.
Of course.
Gotcha.
Of course. I'm going to say period at the end of sentences now.
Just stop.
Unless it's an inquisitive question, and then I will say question mark. Jake Mintz.
Steve, I got Kentucky and Texas A&M tomorrow. Okay, I need to go to sleep. Bye.
Go to sleep. Good night. Love you. Everybody sleep
Love
well.
you
The
too.
College World Series is rad. College baseball is rad. Thank you very much to
Bye.
baseball for having us. Thank you to SiriusXM. Thank you to Baseball Barbecue and Soldier Sports. The Tank rips baseballs. And have a great evening, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.